What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka New York Prepper. In this video, I'm going to do another penetration test with my Ruger guide gun chambered in .416 Ruger. And I'm going to be shooting at some ice blocks. And I made these ice blocks by filling some 5-gallon pails with water and leaving them outside for a couple of days until they froze solid. And the .416 Ruger, for those of you guys who don't know what this cartridge is, it was a joint development between Hornady and Ruger to develop a clone of the .416 Rigby and .416 Remington Magnum that could fit into a standard length action. And I've done extensive chronograph testing, and I can confirm that out of my 20-inch barrel Ruger guide gun, the .416 Ruger can generate between 5,000 and 5,500 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, and it can push a 400 grain projectile at a velocity of around 2,400 feet per second. And I'm going to be shooting at these ice blocks from a distance of about 25 yards. And the ammunition that I'm going to be using in this test is some Dangerous Game solids from Hornady. And the bullet is a 400 grain Dangerous Game solid, which is basically a steel bullet. They say that it's a steel jacketed bullet, but it's basically 70% steel and just a little bit of lead in the base of the bullet just to give it some extra weight. But for the most part, it's basically a steel bullet, and it's 400 grains, and it's being pushed out of my 20-inch barrel Ruger guide gun at a velocity of 2,400 feet per second and generating 5,115 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. And I've actually confirmed these numbers from chronograph tests that I've done. And I'll leave a link up above to the chronograph test where I tested this particular load. So this is a monster cartridge, and I've done a lot of different penetration tests with the .416 Ruger. I've shot this cartridge at 2x10s, at plywood, and now we're going to be shooting it at some ice. So if you want to see some of the other penetration tests that I've done with the .416 Ruger and also chronograph tests that I've done, check out my .416 Ruger playlist, which has all things .416 Ruger in it. All of my .416 Ruger content is in that playlist, and I'll leave a link at the top of this video to my .416 Ruger playlist. And this particular factory load, the Hornady Dangerous Game Solid, penetrated through 26 2x10 boards, and it also penetrated through 75 sheets of 1/2-inch plywood. So it's a monster penetrator, and I'm just curious to see how much ice it can penetrate through. And this load also penetrated through a 2-foot diameter red oak log, and I'll leave a link up above to that video. And these blocks of ice were 10 inches in diameter and about 1 foot tall, and really nothing fancy about them, just 5-gallon buckets that I purchased at Lowe's, filled with water, left them outside for a couple of days, let them freeze solid, and then I removed the ice from the buckets. So let's see how many inches of ice the .416 Ruger elephant gun with Hornady Dangerous Game solids can penetrate through. And I just wanted to address something about these ice blocks, because I know someone's going to make a comment about it. So if you look closely at these ice blocks, you'll notice there appears to be fractures in them, and those are not fractures. What they are is just the way that the water froze and the way that the ice formed. It just kind of left these lines in the ice blocks, but they're not cracks, okay? So here's an example of that. You see there's like a line here, and there's also a line here, and these are not cracks. It's just the way that the water froze and the way that the ice formed. It's not a crack, okay? And if you guys have never froze water in a bucket, the way that the water freezes is that the top freezes first, and then the sides, and then the bottom freezes last. So that's why on these ice blocks you'll see that the bottom here is clear and the top is kind of cloudy looking. And so this part right here, the cloudy part, is the bottom of the bucket. Okay, this was the bottom of the bucket, and the clear part is where the top of the bucket was. Okay, so it shouldn't really affect the strength of the ice. It's just a visual thing. Alright guys, 416 Ruger elephant gun versus ice blocks. We got our 400 grain dangerous game solid, and I've actually chronographed this load, and I can confirm through chronographing that this does in fact travel 2,400 feet per second out of my 20-inch barrel Ruger guide gun. Okay, and that's 5,100 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. So let's see what happens here. This is a steel jacketed bullet, and this thing has a monstrous penetration. So let's see what happens here. Alright, let's go check it out, see what happened. All right, guys, so it looks like the 416 Ruger elephant gun with the Hornady 400 grain dangerous game solid steel jacketed bullet traveling at 2,400 feet per second, generating 5,100 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, shot through 4 of these ice blocks. Look at that, guys. That is absolutely insane penetration. That's about 40 inches of ice. Each one of these ice blocks was 10 inches in diameter, and it just blasted through 4 of them. That is just absolutely insane. Look at how it just completely blew them in half. That is just insane. I can't believe it. And look at the kinetic energy, how it fractured the bottom half of these ice blocks. Check that out. Look at that. It just completely fractured them. Look at that. It looks kind of cool, actually. It looks like a quartz crystal or something. But check this out. Impressive power from the 416 Ruger. This is one of my all-time favorite cartridges. Very overlooked and underestimated. Excellent cartridge. Look at this penetration, guys. Look at that. 40 inches of ice. Impressive. Okay. Let's just see what it looks like on the top here. You can see it just completely shredded. Look at that. It just shredded the whole thing. And the kinetic energy just completely fractured the ice. Look at this. That is just insane. 416 Ruger, aka Ice Maker. Look at this. And I don't see the bullet anywhere. Check that out. Look at the devastation. Absolutely insane. This is the kind of cartridge you want if you got to deal with a Terminator. If Arnold Schwarzenegger comes back from the future and says that he's got to terminate you, this is the round that you want to use to stop him. I'm sure if you put a few of these in his shoulders and knees, he would go down. Look at this. This is just absolutely insane. Check that out, guys. And the 5th block had no damage done to it whatsoever. You can see it's perfectly intact. So that's good, because now I can reuse these, which is good. Because if it like fractured this one, I'd have to make a whole new one. It would be a waste. So, but check that out. That is just absolutely insane. Look at that. Devastating power. 416 Ruger. Hornady dangerous game solid. 5,000 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. But there you have it, guys. 416 Ruger versus frozen 5-gallon pails of water. Went through 4 of them, 10 inches in diameter each one. That's 40 inches of ice. Pretty insane, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more ice penetration tests. And as always, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 P's. Prepare, practice, and persevere. And you know what the favorite part of the test was for me? Is the end of the test, because I don't have to clean anything up. All I got to do is just toss that ice to the ground and let it melt.